Ever wondered what happens when a baby's birth straddles two different days? This intriguing question forms the basis of our time conundrum today. Imagine this. The birth process kicks off at 11:59 in the evening, but the baby's head doesn't make its grand entrance until 12:01 the next day. So on what day is the baby declared as born? This might seem like a simple curiosity, but it actually opens up a fascinating exploration into both the medical and legal aspects of birth. From a medical standpoint, when is the precise moment of birth? And legally, how do birth certificates handle such split-second differences? It's a question that takes us down a rabbit hole, where time is not just a ticking clock, but a determinant of identity. Intrigued? Let's delve into the medical perspective first. From a medical standpoint, when is a baby considered born? This question might seem simple, but it's actually a bit more complex than you might think. When we look at it from a medical perspective, a baby is officially born at the moment of complete delivery. That means when every part of the baby has fully emerged from the mother. This isn't just a random rule that doctors made up, it's actually based on the World Health Organization's definition of birth time. The World Health Organization, or WHO, is a globally recognized authority on health matters. According to the WHO, the birth time is defined as the moment the baby is fully out of the mother. It's not about when the first part of the baby emerges, or when the baby takes its first breath. It's about the moment when the entire baby has been delivered. So if we go back to our initial question and apply this definition, we find that if a baby's head pops out at 12:01 a.m., that's the time that would be recorded as the birth time. Regardless of when the rest of the baby started to emerge, the official birth time would be when the baby is fully delivered. So medically speaking, our baby born at 12:01 a.m. would be a child of the next day, but is it the same legally? Legally, when does a new day begin for a newborn? Now, that's a fascinating question. When we delve into the legal aspect, we find that the answer varies from country to country, and sometimes even within different regions of the same country. For instance, in some places, the day of birth might be considered as the day when the birth process started. That is, if our hypothetical baby's birth started on one day and ended on the next, the day of birth would be the day it all began. This perspective comes from the idea that birth is a process, not a singular event. Conversely, in other regions, the day of birth could be when the birth is fully completed. So, with our baby whose birth straddles 2 days, their official birthday would be the day when they fully emerged into the world. This standpoint views birth as a definitive event, marking the moment when a baby is wholly separate from its mother. Let's consider an example. In France, the law states that the day of birth is the day when the child is fully separated from the mother. So in our case, the French law would declare our baby's birthday as the day when the head emerged. So, depending on where our baby is born legally, they could either be a child of the previous day or the next. So what's the final word on our baby's birth date, you ask? Well, as we've discovered, it's a fascinating blend of medical and legal perspectives. From a medical standpoint, birth is a process, not a singular event. It's not just about when the baby's head or butt pops out, but rather the entire birthing process that could span across 2 days. On the flip side, we have the legal perspective. Laws around the world can differ, and the specific circumstances can greatly influence the birth date on official documents. In some places, it's when the majority of the baby's body emerges. In others, it could be when the baby takes its first breath. So, the final verdict? It's not as straightforward as one might think. The date could vary depending on the medical interpretation and the legal jurisdiction. So next time someone asks you this intriguing question, you'll have a witty and well-informed answer ready.